The CDC says anyone who's been in close contact with someone who has COVID-19 must quarantine for 14 days. That puts the president in a tough spot with 32 days to the election. The Trump campaign today postponing all of the president's upcoming events. 23 ABC's Kristin Vartan joins us live with what this could mean for the upcoming debates. Kristin?
Yes, Danielle, with Trump already exhibiting some of those symptoms like that fatigue that you mentioned, and I'm already falling into the category of at risk with his age and from a health standpoint. Our 23 ABC political contributors weigh in on what his positive COVID-19 results can mean for the presidency and the presidential elections.
He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to.
All right.
He's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing.
COVID-19 was one of the main discussions at the first presidential debate last Tuesday. And as we've seen, Trump is not known to wear masks regularly and has held rallies without mask mandates in place on top of that. 23 ABC political contributor Dr. Ivy Cargile says there's been talk about postponing or canceling current Trump rallies after POTUS and FLOTUS announced their positive COVID-19 test results Thursday night. But she adds the trends of the Trump's administration have shown that if Trump is up for it, they may eventually proceed with smaller campaign events. He would have to be quarantined for 2 weeks and then be able to possibly go out in person, right?
Is what safety guidelines are calling for, but let's not forget that this White House hasn't been the most, they haven't necessarily followed the guidelines. I mean, just this morning, his chief of staff, who has been in close contact with him, is, giving a brief press conference without a mask.
And as far as those debates are concerned, Dr. Cargile predicts the vice presidential debate to proceed while the other two presidential debates on October 15th and 22nd are, quote, hanging in the air.
Doctors are saying that given his comorbidities and his weight and his age, he is at risk. He's at higher risk. Also, COVID has been attacking men much more severely than women. The fact that he's already showing mild symptoms has some people concerned.
But 23 ABC political contributor Alan Bowler doesn't even see the vice president debate taking place.
I feel like they're going to want Pence to be ready at all times and not potentially have him exposed to anything.
Ready for what, you may ask? The potential of assuming presidential duties under the 25th Amendment. Bowler did add that Trump should be able to perform his duties virtually. But if the virus progresses, it is the 25th Amendment that can render it possible for Trump and Congress to temporarily transfer duties to Vice President Mike Pence. Dr. Cargile sees President Trump's administration doing everything in their power to keep the power from transferring over, including Pence and Trump wearing masks around one another.
The next person in line is Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and we all know how that relationship goes.
Dr. Cargile adds that the polarization of Congress and the administration and the fact that we're at the cusp of the current presidency would make it unlikely of a transfer of power happening. The last time the 25th Amendment was enacted was when George H.W. Bush took over as acting president, when former President Ronald Reagan was shot from an assassination attempt. Just a reminder, H.W. Bush did become the next POTUS, though Bowler says that it's not likely that one caused the other. When asked if this could pave the way for Pence to campaign successfully in the 2024 election, Bowler says,
no matter what happens with this election, Mike Pence is the front runner for 2024. For the Republican nomination. He's the current vice president. Just like Biden was the previous vice president, vice presidents are generally front runners.
Speaking of vice presidents, Joe Biden actually tweeted this morning that he had negative test results for COVID-19. Pelosi also has negative test results according to her office. For now, I'm Kristin Vartan, live in downtown Bakersfield for 23 ABC, connecting you.